And away we go. It's the nightcap brought to you by Galactic Fried Chicken right here on BearcatJournal.com. It is still Thursday, February 17th. I'm Chad Brendel. He's Aaron Smith. Visit www.galacticfriedchicken.com. Download the app for Android, iPhone, everything Galactic. That's where you can order pickup. You can order delivery to your house directly from the Galactic Fried Chicken app. They cut out the middleman. You'll have to have Uber Eats. They go through Uber Eats for the delivery process, but you won't have to pay all the fees that Uber Eats charges in the delivery process, and a much larger delivery area. I'm in Independence. He said they'll deliver to me through Uber Eats.
Get you some.
That's like a half hour away.
Well,
so
you can have that deliver. Kelsey can have her crawfish delivery.
Yeah, I was thinking I was gonna like cook on stream tomorrow, but I didn't go get any food from the grocery store to do that because we've been busy. Yeah. I'm probably gonna be ordering food.
You're not gonna wake up early and head to Kroger?
No, come on. We've got a 12 hours. I might sleep till 11:50 tomorrow.
I'm not gonna be able to sleep well tonight. I'm gonna be nervous.
Don't be nervous.
Just because it's a big production. I mean, once we get going, nerves will be gone. I'll be ready to go. But
we're gonna have a lot of fun tomorrow. We'll get to that. We'll talk about that at the end of the show. First, Bearcats, very nice bounce back to get back in the win column tonight. 85-76 over Wichita State. They started smoking hot in the first half. Hit 7 of their first 8 threes. Had a little bit of a lull, but fortunately, Wichita State made it a little bit of a game, but it was never really one you were overly sweating. A very balanced performance from the Bearcats.
It was a weird game.
A little bit. There was a weird flow to it. It didn't feel like it had like a normal basketball game flow, which is what happens, I guess, when you start the game in the first 9 minutes hitting 7 threes.
You were up 32-11.
They were on pace for 122 points at one point.
Then Wichita creeps back. Then Cincinnati separates a little bit more. Then Wichita creeps back again. Like it was a very strange game the way it played out.
Yeah, it was. And this is the bulk of a Wichita State roster that won the league last year. And they're not as good as they were last year for whatever reason. But still a team that can do some damage, and they have a lot of guys that are dangerous. They still have the defending player of the year in Tyson Etienne. They've got a young guy in Ricky Council, the 4th, who's very, very good. He's going to be a first-team All-AAC guy before too long.
How's he not starting?
I mean, it doesn't matter. I mean, he played 30 minutes, and he scored 17 points.
He's the best player on their team.
Yeah, I mean, right now he's playing like the best player. Morris Udeze is very good. Dexter Dennis has been good solid for a long time. Craig Porter is solid for them. So this is a good win for Cincinnati as they enter this final stretch of the season, now down to 5 games remaining and trying to get to 20 wins. They're now at 17. They need 3 more. This is a game ultimately you can build off of, Aaron, because if you scroll back down to the Cincinnati stats, 17 from David DeJulius, but he wasn't scoring a ton, and he wasn't like he had been over the past 3 weeks where he was the only, not the only, but the primary scoring option. He was facilitating. Wichita State did a great job trying to take him out of the game, and DeJulius was able to move the ball and really fuel that early run that Cincinnati had as a facilitator, as more of a point guard than he's really been all year, where he's been used more as a scorer. And then at the end of the game, he helped Cincinnati finish to keep, Wichita State tried to close hard and make that a game at the end. And David did a great job finishing to get up to the 17 points. But a great game from Micah Adams-Woods, a great game from John Newman, Abdul Ado was really effective. You got a great glimpse tonight of why he's so important at the rim. He's just a tree trunk down there, and he does such a good job making it difficult for the opponent to score. Got a very solid 22 minutes out of him. Mason Madsen hit all 3 of his threes. He had a solid game. I thought Mike Saunders Jr. had a good game. Odie had a good game. This was all around maybe the most complete performance we've seen from this team in a month?
A long time.
Since Wichita State and SMU the first time around.
Right, last time.
That, good to see, because as we talked about, these things go in
ebbs and flows.
Hopefully this is the start of a strong finish to the season for Cincinnati, because they looked very good for the most part in this one.
Well, so you brought up David DeJulius not scoring the bulk of his points that got him over the double-digit hump until like the end of the second half. At about halfway through the second half, neither DeJulius nor Jeremiah Davenport, who didn't finish in double digits, really had anything. I think DeJulius.
They were both like 6, 8, 9 points right around in there.
Yeah.
Well, that's it. That's my number one story for this game is they have really been in a position where if those two aren't both on, offense is really, really difficult for this team.
Mm-hmm.
And for a majority of the night, those two were good, but they weren't, at that level where they were carrying the load for everybody.
Right.
And everybody else. I think at halftime there were 8 guys between 4 and 6 points.
Well, and one thing I noticed,
that's crazy balance.
One thing I noticed was they were making the extra pass. They were, they were finding the guy that was open rather than just taking a shot, forcing it up, which I feel like the last couple games have been a lot of forced offense as opposed
to a lot of isolation.
Yeah, as opposed to finding the guy who's wide open, and they were just kicking it around and finding the guy who was wide open rather than taking that forced shot.
Yeah, 17 assists. Like I talked about that with Wes. I asked him in the post game after Memphis, like the assist numbers are down. Like, take me through that. And some of it was offense. Some of it was, he felt like they were making the right passes. They weren't finishing the shots to put the assist on the board. And I thought they did both of those things better tonight. They moved the ball better as a team, and they finished when they had the opportunity. That's how you get 17 assists. Like you want to be up in that 15 plus range in assists, and they were right there with 17. So I thought that was really good. They finished 11 of 19 from 3, 54% for the game, 51% in the first half, Aaron, 56% in the second half. I had been complaining about that on defense the past 2 games. They did it themselves by playing a better offensive half as a whole in the second half than they did in the first half. Can I talk about my ongoing Twitter annoyance over the past week?
You're going to talk about it anyway, so it doesn't matter what I say. But sure, go ahead.
You're right. There is this barrage of people that have been bombarding my mentions because I'm an advocate of this team continuing to shoot as many threes as they shoot. And at times, I think they should shoot more. Why? Because this is a team that hasn't been good from 2. You know what they're shooting from before tonight? I'm sure tonight boosted these numbers. Since the start of conference play, what do you think this team is shooting from 2-point range, Aaron?
Probably under 40%.
43%.
Okay, close.
Yeah. You know what they're shooting from 3 in conference play? Almost 35%.
Which, break down.
What's that tell you?
Break down the math for us, Chad.
What's that tell you?
That tells you
more threes.
You're almost shooting your 3-point clip at the same point you're shooting your 2-point clip.
Fake John Goebel did the math. With the way Cincinnati's shooting, it would take them 28 shots to get to 24 points. 28 2-point shots to get to 28 points.
Okay.
It would take them, if they took 28 threes, they would have 27 points. Is 27 more than 24?
Every time, according to the math that I grew up. Listen, I went to Northwest High School. Things were a little different there. Just saying.
That's not saying that they should stop taking 2s. Like people are misconstruing what I'm saying. What I'm saying is, as long as you're taking solid threes and you're not just, coming down with 26 seconds on the clock and firing up a three to fire up a three. If you're working your offense and the offense produces a three, take it. Because you're not a great team. You don't have anybody you can throw the ball into and say, there's no Gary Clark, there's no Kyle Washington, there's no Yancey Gates. There's nobody that we throw it to them, they're going to score.
Well, tonight,
Danny Fortson on this team, my argument would be completely different.
Tonight, I feel like both Adu and Odie tried to channel some of that. They did. They weren't afraid to, try and back somebody down and take the little jump hook.
Yeah, they did better with it. And if you're going to be more consistent at that, then I'm okay with pounding the ball inside a little bit and getting some more twos. But from what we've seen from January 1st to now, take the amount of threes that you're taking because it's producing more points than the twos you're taking. Yeah. That's very simple. And people want to argue. I don't get what is there to argue about? Why are you arguing with me?
Well, you saw how much it meant to Mikey Saunders, who finally hit a three. He's been struggling behind the line of late. He hits that three.
A couple this week but
my point
tonight,
is,
yeah.
Well, and it was kind of in that run where everybody was hitting threes.
Yeah.
So they go into the timeout, and he did something that I haven't seen him really do before that I can remember. And he just kind of steps away from the team and tries to hype the crowd up going into that timeout. And you could tell just how much that meant to him to actually get on track, knock one down, and not miss two or three to where you're like, I'm not shooting the three anymore tonight.
Right. The three ball is an important part of who this team is because they don't have a lot of rim scoring. They don't have a lot of paint scoring. And you don't shoot less threes. You shoot the number of threes that you're shooting, or sometimes more, depending on the game, because it is a more efficient, it is a more effective offense for this particular team.
Now, just because you say they need to shoot more threes doesn't mean you need to be taking them all the way out from the 5th-3rd logo.
Yeah, that's not what I'm talking about. Running offense.
In rotation. And
if the offense presents a three, take the damn three. Aaron.
Chad.
Some people thought they were being clever.
Here we go.
Tonight. They start 7 of 8. And I did the SpongeBob where you just lowercase, uppercase, shoot more. Stop shooting so many threes. And then Wichita State went on their run and cut it back, I think, to 4. Before they got it back to 7
that sounds about right.
Half. You know what happened during that stretch, Aaron?
They stopped
of 11 minutes. They stopped shooting threes. People were like, "Oh, how's it looking now?" And I'm like, "You're making my point." They stopped shooting threes, and Wichita State got back in the game. Why? Because they started shooting more twos. Criminally, it's very basic math. It's very basic math. 50%, if you can shoot 50% from two, you have to shoot better than 33% from three. This team right now shooting 43% from three and 35% or 43% from two in conference play and 35% from three. You're better off shooting threes.
Who's your player of the game tonight?
Player of the game tonight, I'm going with Micah Adams-Woods. David DeJulius certainly has an argument. John Newman certainly has an argument. I thought Micah, he hit a couple threes. He got to the rim and finished against that Wichita State defense.
Much more efficient night tonight, going 6 of 10 from the field rather than 4 of 17 like we saw last game.
He still had 4 turnovers. He's turning it over way too much of late, but he did have 3 assists. He had 6 rebounds. I'm going 15 points, Micah Adams-Woods. You can make a case for Abdul Ado.
4 blocks.
Yeah, 4 blocks.
Redwood
4 rebounds.
Redwood in the paint. I love it.
He looks like we were joking in press rail. Doesn't he look like sometimes when he gets the ball in the post? Did you play many basketball video games?
Yeah.
He looks like when he gets the ball, sometimes like his stamina meter has expired.
Like back from the old NBA Live games?
Yeah.
Hell
and he's got to gather himself and wait for the stamina meter to go back up before he can make a move to the rim. I made that analogy tonight. I thought it was pretty good. I thought it was pretty good. Like he works hard and he gets the ball, and then it's like,
I thought it was great to see the student section really embrace him tonight in a way that I don't think we've really seen that happen.
The dude chants.
Yeah. And I think people in the at least it seemed like some of the old heads around me were kind of confused as to what was going on. Like, what's happening? His name's Adu. That's what's happening.
Yeah.
But Newman had a great night.
It was actually just it was the Mamadou fan club that had been waiting to chant "do."
Transition.
Yeah, they finally figured it out. Wait,
we can do the same thing. Newman had a great night. Again, another one who was very efficient. Finally got back on track. We've been wanting him to get back on track. He does so tonight. He sprains
his ankle at the end of the game.
Well, and I don't know that you've talked about that here, so I don't know if you want to go into any more on that.
Well, I just kind of caught it out of the side of my eye. He had the baseline dunk. They broke the press, got him the ball. He went baseline, dunked it. I guess he came down either. I didn't see it. I'd have to go find a replay. He either came down on his ankle weird or he stepped on somebody. And then when they had a timeout, he was talking to the team doctor over on the sidelines. And I'm like, that's a little. So I didn't see him do anything. That's a little weird. And so I asked Wes about it after the game, and Wes seemed pretty concerned that it was something that might cost him a little bit of time, which would suck because we've talked about for a month now.
We wanted this version of him back, and he's back.
And guess what? The offense was fantastic when you had this version of John Newman because it gave you an extra threat. Mm-hmm. So hopefully it's something that Bob Mangine and the training staff can manage.
He's a tough dude.
He is a tough dude, a really tough dude. Somebody asked the other night, does John Newman have eyebrows? They're very light. They are there. I was actually standing next to him tonight as they were going through warm-ups. And I wonder if he caught me like
staring at his eyebrows.
Yeah, like staring right at his face. John, come here. Okay, you're good.
I think
he does have eyebrows.
I think you should tell him next time you see him, like, hey, if you saw me looking weird at you, like all cockeyed, here's why.
Just checking your eyebrows.
Good win tonight, though, by the boys.
Good to get back on track. Well, you got Temple coming in on Sunday. You needed to get on track before that one.
I said in my article, and I caught a little flack for it. I said I thought it was a must win. People said a must win for what? Like, and I get their point. We're not making the
to build momentum towards the end of the season.
You needed that.
Get 20 wins.
Well, and you're not going to have momentum going into the end of the season, especially going into the conference tournament play, if you aren't winning games like this. This was a huge game for this team, huge game for the fan base. I hope everybody enjoyed the hell out of it because if you weren't there because of the weather, it was on ESPN2 and there were a lot of empty seats and probably looked terrible. But
there was still about just under 10,000 there. It wasn't a terrible crowd. You guys get worked up about this. You don't like the people. Those seats that were empty are seats that were purchased.
I'm in the upper deck, so I see all.
I know you want their seats. That's what this is.
You ain't wrong.
You look down there, and every seat you see, you're like, I should be sitting in that seat.
Give me your tickets if you're not coming to the game.
Son of a! You could have Keith, your buddy Keith Wettinger, had an extra ticket tonight. You could have gobbled up his extra and sat with him the whole night.
Man.
Instead, he sat over by us, and he would come up during the timeouts and talk to me and Justin about what was happening.
Shoulda, coulda, woulda.
Yeah. He had his own like live podcast with me and Justin.
You should have texted me. You should have texted me and been like, "Yo,
your boy's down here.
I got a guy who needs somebody to talk to during timeouts."
We were talking about you at the bar Tuesday.
Oh, sheesh. Sounds about right.
He was like, I didn't have as many of those $2 fat tires as Aaron did. And I was like, I know. Did you watch the nightcap from Tuesday?
Yeah. And Justin's like, this is why I always referred to him as the drunk guy at the games.
Yeah. Very true. Let's put a cap on that one. Bearcats 85-76. Back in action Sunday against Temple at Fifth Third Arena, second to last home game of the season. I had this happens to me every year at this exact point. When I tear that third to last parking pass off, and there's only 2 left, and I'm like, there's only 2 home games left this year? Shit.
Damn.
It's a little depressing. But to bring our spirits back up, tomorrow, Friday, all day, noon to midnight, right here on this very YouTube channel. Aaron and I are going to be live. And boy, do we have a day full of fun for you.
We got a list, man.
I'll give you a little hint. Some of the names that are going to be joining us. Dan Horde. Mo Egger. Lenny Stokes. James Smith. Wes Miller. Oh, Wes Miller?
Who's that?
Luke Fickle. Luke Fickle?
De Mexico.
This is how much the Bearcat Journal means to guys like Wes Miller and Luke Fickle. Luke Fickle's cool. On vacation in Mexico. He's joining us from vacation in Mexico tomorrow. Wes Miller joining us from the road as he goes to watch Cincinnati signee Daniel Skillings.
Was he at the game tonight?
No.
Oh, they showed somebody on the screen that looked.
Wasn't it?
Okay.
No, he's got a game they're getting into like crunch time playoffs. He plays tomorrow. They're hitting the Bearcat Air route, I believe. And after practice, going to Philly and getting to watch Dan, and then heading back tomorrow night. Justin Williams is going to join us. We're going to get Dave after dark. We're going to get Dave after a couple drinks tomorrow night towards the end of the stream. Justin's going to pop in around that time too. He's
going to show me how you're actually supposed to do it as opposed to how I did it.
Opposed to being blackout and not remembering doing it.
It wasn't quite that bad. It was just gray. It's fine.
Gray out. You were gray out. We'll have Shane from Galactic Fried Chicken. We'll have Danco Joe. We'll have Jimmy from the Holy Grail. Possibly Mike Galati from 513 Shirts. What'd you say?
Mick Walker.
Well, I'm getting to that. But Mike Galati from 513 Shirts. 513 Shirts sponsoring the show. We're going to have a giveaway every hour. Bearcat Journal gear. The state of Cincinnati flag. We're going to be giving away 4 of those. We're going to be giving away 8 items of Bearcat Journal gear. Again, Dan Horde, Mo Egger, Lenny Stokes, James Smith, Luke Fickle, Wes Miller, and more. Brent Young will join us at some point in time. The PTP guys will pop in at some point in time. We're going to have some fun. We're going to have some fun. All day Friday, noon to midnight, right on this channel. If you're watching this and it's sometime between noon and midnight, come join us. We're gonna have a good time. So that's gonna wrap it up. Good night for the Bearcats, and heck of a day coming at you tomorrow. I'm Chad Brendel. He's Aaron Smith. This is the Nightcap, brought to you by Galactic Fried Chicken, right here on BearcatJournal.com.
See ya.